What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the much anticipated results video for the community AI only battle. We will be going on further to turns 450 and 500 in two separate videos. Not sure how quick they're going to take, because I think 100 turns will probably take about 10 hours at the current speed, and obviously it might slow down even further. So they may not come out like as regular as the episodes usually are, or they might be fine and nothing changes. And yeah, just be prepared for either scenario. But I have the top 10. We used my regular scoring system. Those of you might be familiar with it from before. I take the info addicts and I use most of them. There are some I take out if they're like included sort of twice, or they're not as useful as other ones. So like literacy isn't used because I can just use technologies. So some aren't used. I think gold income isn't used because then I use net income instead, which includes spending, which is maybe a bit better. But yeah, we use it. We assign points through 1st to 10th place. And that's how I've done it. Now I've got a top 10 from it, and it seems like it seems reasonable. So we'll probably keep using it in the future. But first off, I just want to give an honourable mention to the 3 civs that actually got into double digits of points, but didn't make the top. So there was 13 civs with double digits. 3 didn't make it in the top 10. So with 13 points, good job Mongolia. You came 13th with 13 points. 12th was Mali with 24, so again, honourable mention to them, but they just missed out sadly, and really just missing out by 2 points on 33 was Brazil. They were very close, and yeah, that sucked, but I don't know, maybe if Brazil had a few more turns, they'd probably improved on science and stuff, and gone a bit better. But on to the places that matter. 10th place first, and this is a surprise entry, mainly got here because of some late expansion, and that is the Sioux. They won some categories, in fact. No, they didn't win, but they did well in some, like food. Who would have thought the tundra was full of food? But so much land really did help them here, and they've done pretty well. Technology, but also cities was a good one for them. But yeah, the Sioux in 35 points came 10th, on 3 points above them. It was really close, and then the leaders are a bit oh my goodness, what is going on? The leaders are a bit further ahead, but not like super far ahead, and they're closer than I thought they were going to be. But yeah, 3 points then ahead of the Sioux. In 9th place is Austria. Had a good game. They've taken some cities as the game gone. I believe this began as a papal state city. This was Celtic at the start. Königsberg here was the Prussian capital, and Moscow was obviously the Soviets' capital at the start of the game. So they've made some really good progress, and it's just good, nice to see an Austrian AI do well. They are currently at war with Ethiopia, so we'll see how that pans out in the next videos. But yeah, they came 9th. Good job, Austria. And then a little bit ahead of Austria, 9 points ahead. So a bit of a gap here, a bit of a jump, is Burundi in 8th place. They're doing pretty well at the end here. They've got some atomic bombs, which not many people have. They have plenty of money. That was some of their best categories as well. And just generally lots of population, lots of land. Sadly, they're in a really tough spot between Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Rhodesia, all of whom are pretty strong. So not really sure what the next 100 turns will have in store for them. But stay tuned to find out. And that's just, I had to do that. Okay, 3 points ahead of them, Samoa, 50 points. They did pretty well. They won a couple of they won population, that was it. But they did come second a few times in some of the categories. I think technology was one, and some other ones. But yeah, they did pretty well. Not too much to say because they've really not done that much apart from take an island in Madagascar, or part of Madagascar. That is all they've done. They haven't really done anything else. So they had some bonuses. They're a pretty cool AI. Good job, Samoa. Now, 5th and 6th, we have a tie. 1 point ahead of Samoa. And that is the Moors and Belgium. They're at war all game, pretty much, until the end. And how fitting is it that they tie? I don't think either of them. Belgium won a category. I have no idea which one it was, so my apologies. We'll see when we check the info addicts. It might have been Faith. Actually, no, I think that was Ethiopia. I don't know. They won something, Belgium. We'll find out when we check the info addicts in a minute. It'll probably be culture or something like that, I imagine. I don't know. Something towards the end. And yeah, both of them had pretty good games. The Moors just sort of expanded slowly. Most of their cities, they actually settled. They took a couple of random cities in a peace deal. Benevento from the Papal State. More importantly, Leningrad from the Soviet Union. Oh, so long ago. And they held on to it. Belgium, I think they destroyed Prussia early on, but apart from that, these are their cities. Yeah, there's just a couple of Prussian cities they took out, but they still did pretty well. And now, quite a lead now. From 51 points, we're jumping up to 80 for 4th place. And that was Texas. They won a few categories too. I think, actually, they won one category. They came 2nd a lot. But yeah, land area was one of their big things that they did quite well in. Just to note, they are massive. But yeah, Texas, lots of expanding. They now hold the Mayan territory, the Aztecs. Who else? They drove the Sioux and Shoshone. They owned what was the Sioux, Shoshone, and Polynesian lands at some point. Obviously, the Sioux are still alive and did pretty well despite losing their capital, which I probably should have given them some bonus points for being in the top 10 without a capital. Don't underestimate how impressive that is, although it's not that impressive just because we've seen it done once before. Even better, in that historic Spawn Dates World Battle, India did amazing. Like, I think they came like 3rd or 4th without their capital. But yeah, obviously that was different circumstances. They were one of the first alive, so I don't know. However you want to view it. 18 points though, ahead of Texas, who had a pretty good game in North America. Although, obviously, it's probably maybe a bit easier for them. I don't know. I don't think they had it easy, though. There was lots of civs here. They did very well, Texas. Well deserved. And into 3rd place on 98 points, 18 ahead, we have the Huns. Pretty good game for the Huns. They didn't actually win a single category. That's impressive, but they were probably the most consistent at coming... One of the most consistent at coming 2nd and 3rd. 2nd place was also very consistent at coming 2nd and 3rd, but just they also managed to win one category, which is probably it isn't quite the difference, but it's half of the difference. But yeah, the Huns had a good game. Lots of wars. They were very fun to watch at times. Sometimes they were a bit dry, but they were fun. They took this city, I believe, from Austria, although I think Byzantium took it from Austria first, and then they took it, but I might have forgotten now. It's been a while. And obviously, they've just butchered their way down south through Persia, or I don't think it was Persia at the... Actually, yeah, I think it was Persia at the time. Through Persia, and they took all this stuff from Byzantium as well, which was really cool to watch. And now to the big one. I guess it's 2nd and 1st. I think we all know who the 2 are left that are, so I may as well tell you first, because if I just say 2nd, it's very anticlimactic. So, 1st got 127 points, 2nd got 113. To put that in perspective, the Huns got 98. So in 1st place... we have Vietnam, which means Ethiopia came 2nd. It's a good job, and obviously Ethiopia did a good game. Didn't do too much in Africa. They expanded north through Egypt, took out the Vandals, and then just destroyed Byzantium for a little while. Helped taking out the Papal State as well, because Austria failed at it for so long. They had some long wars with Belgium, and in general they've just done very well. And then Vietnam. Let's talk about them, because that's obviously we've known for quite a while probably they were going to win. They didn't win by that many points, which it doesn't mean Belgium were close to winning though. Like, it's just because it's a category system. Like, Vietnam was so far ahead in so many of the categories. Vietnam got the most wins. They won 10 of them. Ethiopia won 1, for example, which is like half of what the points more than the Huns they had, for example. But Vietnam, who have they dealt with? They have dealt with China, who are here, with Beijing in a random position, just because I had Qing that starts in Beijing. It's regular position, so I moved them. They obviously helped with the taking out of Qing, although Mongolia also played a part. And probably they just got to settle. They never even went to war with India. Never really thought about that. They just settled these islands, had a good time, really thrived in a game where you voted for no Indonesia. It looks like they're probably about to they'll take Honolulu at some point soon, don't worry. Not that it would have made the difference, they still won. And they also, the only major war apart from that was they took out Japan. That was pretty impressive, but at the same time they were quite far ahead at the time. So not super impressive. But now let's go show you the info addicts one final time, I imagine. I don't think we'll go over them again. I'll just show you the changes on the map. So it won't be that interesting because by turn 500 loads of people will be at the top of the tech tree, stuff like that. So it won't be too interesting. But here we are, population leading the way, Samoa by 20 million. There is 80 million Samoans, 60 million Vietnamese, 57 million Hunnic people, 45 million Ethiopians, 38 million Burundians. I don't know. Burundians will get the nod from me. Texans, there's 35 million of them. That was an awful sentence. 30 million Austrians, 27 million Moorish people, and Brazilians as well, just a bit less. 25 million Belgians. Dang it. Okay, crop yield. Vietnam leading the way, 520 million bushels. Only just beaten Texas there, 514. Ethiopia in 3rd. The Huns in 4th, the Moors in 5th, the Sioux in 6th, Samoa in 7th, Brazil 8th, 9th is Austria, and 10th Australia, and that's going to get annoying because they come quite close a lot of times in this list ahead. Production, here's another one of the big ones. Vietnam, 731 million tons, well ahead of Texas on 605, who are only 7 ahead of Ethiopia, 598. Then it's the Huns in 4th, 512. The Sioux, surprisingly, in 5th. The Moors in 6th, Brazil in 7th, Austria 8th, Burundi 9th, and Belgium 10th. GMP, this is just gold income, so I sort of ignored this one for the points, but Vietnam did lead the way for the most income. Texas, obviously, I don't think they win on net, because obviously they spend a lot on their army and buildings compared to most. Texas in 2nd, and quite about 500 gold less. Ethiopia down there as well, 800. The Huns also in the 800 club. Then it's Burundi and Belgium down here, Brazil, the Moors, Mali, and Austria to finish that list off. Land area, Vietnam led the way with 5.7 million square kilometers. Texas just behind at 4.6, not just behind, but behind, about a million kilometers behind, 4.6 million. Ethiopia, 4.2 million. The Huns are pretty small, in fact, 2.93 million, or 2.97 million. The Moors are only just behind the Huns, actually, 2.95 million. Brazil, 2.8 million. 2.7 million for the Sioux. Australia, 1.7 million. Same for Austria. And Samoa have 1.6 million. Military manpower, everyone loves this category. Vietnam, 1 million soldiers, which means 1 in every 80 people. No, 1 in every 60 Vietnamese people is in the army. Not sure how that would compare. I'm not going to be able... That's just because it's a nice round number. I'm not going to tell you what it is for every other civ. Ethiopia, just, well, quite far behind again, 872,000. That's what I meant. Like, Ethiopia, it wouldn't be a matter of them being just behind Vietnam. For them to overtake in all these categories, just to get that extra 1 point, would have been really difficult. So 872,000 for Ethiopia. The Huns are then in 3rd with 777,000. Belgium in 4th, 656,000, and they lead the Huns who have 596,000. Texas have fallen down a bit. I assume it's that war they've just finished with Polynesia, so they're at 586,000. 1,000 ahead of Mali, who have a huge army. Wow. Didn't expect that from Mali. Brazil also just behind them by a few thousand. Then there's about 40,000 down to Burundi, and Rhodesia snuck in ahead of Nigeria. Quite a lot of soldiers, though, which can make the next 100 turns very interesting. Approval I ignored because most of these civs are dead. Literacy 90%, but yeah, we'll use technology. It basically gives you the same information. Happiness, Vietnam somehow have 128 happiness. This is where the scoring got a bit messed up because again there are some civs on here. Argentina and Japan are no longer alive, but they got points. Not sure how that works. I mean, Argentina have 2 tiles but no cities. I just still don't know how that works. Ethiopia in 2nd, though, with half the happiness of Vietnam. So it shows you, just having one giant civ that takes over the whole world doesn't always mean that it's a bad place to live. Sometimes it's a good thing. It's not for anyone else, obviously. Ethiopia 51, Texas 49, the Huns 48, the Sioux, I mean, they're all massive. Like, it doesn't really matter. Was there anyone negative? No, everyone finished. Australia finished with 3, the lowest. These civs are dead. There's some more dead ones. I don't know why it only shows these ones. So I have some units wandering around who are pretty happy. Tex, I have 1. The Mapuche and Lot, yeah, they're dead. Leading the way, though, Vietnam, 5 techs ahead of Samoa at the moment. They will hit the top of the tech tree first, as you'd expect. Samoa, 68. Ethiopia, 67. Burundi and the Moors and the Huns all on 65. Belgium, 64. The Inca, Brazil and Korea on 63, alongside Nigeria, Rhodesia, and then India's just behind. Big thing, you can see here a lot of civs are tied. It's not in alphabetical order, although here it does seem to be in alphabetical order. It's sometimes, maybe some of them are, some of them aren't. I've used this because I assumed it does it on who gets there first. If not, then, you know, there can be, maybe my score system is unreliable, but we got to choose something. Like, if I tried to average all of this out, it would just be a complete pain. I'm hoping it does it on who gets there first. It might not. But we can only hope, right? I mean, I'm sure most people will be happy with the results. It's not like they're wildly off from what we expected. So that's just a heads up. If there is ties, I just do it on the top, on the way the list presents it. Most of the time, it isn't alphabetical. I think that was just an example. And maybe in a rush, I might have thought it was alphabetical and it wasn't. And I've made myself look like an idiot. But here we go, net gold. This was the one I did use. Burundi make the most gold. This is gold per turn, basically. Burundi lead the way, 222. The Huns, 197. Belgium, 130. Babylon, 127. Austria, 124. Babylon, I've just found all that oil. That sweet, sweet oil. They've got Dubai and just about on the map. So that's probably what their income is based on now. Vietnam, surprisingly, I say surprisingly 12th. Look at their army. It's not a surprise. Next, cities. Texas led the way here, 19. 3 ahead of Ethiopia, the Sioux, and Vietnam, all on 16. Then the Huns, the Moors, and Brazil way back on 10. Rhodesia have 8. Rhodesia have 8 cities. What? No, they don't. 1, 2. Maybe. Oh, yeah, they have some random islands. Okay, I was going to say. 9 for Austria, 10 for Australia. I can't doubt it now. I've done the whole results on it. So here we are with science, almost doubling the science output of the Civ in second. Vietnam have 1,825. Ethiopia in second with 1,092. The Huns 918. Texas 846. The Moors in fifth, 687. Samoa 652. Austria 643. Burundi 612. Brazil 596. And Mali 549. Only just popped into my head, of course. This doesn't mean Vietnam is... Well, the Vietnam are quite far ahead. But like some of the other civs, like Ethiopia compared to the Moors... Obviously, cities plays a big impact as well for how much science. Like, you can have loads of output, but if you had like 50 cities, it's going to take you ages to actually get enough to get the technology. So it's kind of relative. I never even considered that, but yeah, maybe not so useful as statistic. Vietnam lead the way again for culture, ahead of the Huns, then Texas, then Ethiopia. They have been pretty much solid as a top 4 most of the time. The Sioux then in 5th, quite far behind. Brazil, the Moors, Burundi, Austria, and Australia. Filling out the rest of that list. Wonders, Vietnam have 15, 5 for Samoa, Ethiopia 4, Belgium 4, Polynesia and Texas have 3, 2 for the Huns, Rhodesia and the Iroquois, a few people with 1, India, Inca, Korea and the Moors, but that's about it. Treasury, who's got the most money stored away? Belgium have 30,000 million gold, so 30 billion gold. Austria have 24,000. Burundi have 22,000, Mali have 18,000, Ethiopia 18,000, the Huns 17, Vietnam 16, Mongolia 9,000, India 6,000, Nigeria 5,000. Of course, that doesn't really matter. Some of the AI will have trouble with this. Some of the AI will be spending their money. Some just save it. It's it's up to the AI. Total faith, Ethiopia almost double, well, over double Burundi with 12,882 to Burundi's 5,688. Babylon 4,769, Mali 3,797. This was not one of the categories I used. I used faith gain instead. The Celts 3,300. I just know that because the Celts didn't get any points, and I feel bad now. Korea 6th place. The Incans in 7th. Nigeria 8th. Japan in 10th again. 9th, sorry. And Vietnam came 10th. See, another point available for them there. Faith gain. Belgium led the way, 54. Mali 48, Vietnam 48, Burundi 45, Texas 33, Austria 26, the Incas 26. This is not very much. The Moors 24, Korea 22. Influence, the Huns and Ethiopia have influenced 7 civs, Samoa 6, Brazil 4, the Moors, Burundi, Belgium, Mongolia, India, Mali all have 2. Great works, Vietnam have 18, the Huns 13, Texas 12, Mongolia 11, Mali 10. I don't know how Mali have got 10. So they haven't conquered anything. Like, that's how most of the civs get them. I guess they're just producing a lot. Oh, there's the Soviets. They did get a point. I didn't know. Burundi 9th. Belgium. So Burundi 9th. Burundi got 9. Belgium got 9. The Sioux 9. The Soviet Union 9. Brazil 9. I don't think I used this category. Oops. Trade routes. Lots of people with 7. 8 for the Moors, Samoa, Ethiopia, Burundi. I have no idea how Vietnam have 9. Do you get an extra? Maybe they have an extra one. Maybe there's an extra one at the top of the tech tree. And finally, tourism, Vietnam. Oh my goodness. Okay, 562. The Huns 198. Ethiopia 152. Texas 117. Brazil 95. Burundi 83. The Moors 82. Mali 78. Austria 60. Samoa 59. That's the top 10. That is it for this results video. I'll be back soon with an episode where we are at turn 450 just to show you what's changed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.